Hi there, it's Mr. Fowles, and we're going to talk a little bit about taking notes. This is like a sample presentation that I might give you on my PowerPoints. Um, just so this one is about landforms, but we're using it more to focus on the content of how to take notes. So don't worry too much about anything else there. So you'll get this frame here, this thing, and this is called a Cornell Note format. I'll just put up here, Cornell Notes, right there. And that's because the format was invented or adapted at Cornell University. So by taking these notes, you're doing the same kind of note-taking format that a lot of college students do. There are three areas. There's this area to the left. This is the keyword area. Then there's this area to the right. And this is the general note-taking area, this here. And then this area down here is like a summary area. This is where you write a summary. I can't really write it well with the mouse. But we're going to go through and talk about how we're going to use these in class, because it's important that we learn how to do it and that we do it properly. So let's say you had this in front of you. Notice that the words are already here, and I've got some frames ready for you. So you'd see bay, part of an ocean or lake partially enclosed by land. There's a little picture. And then you go to your notes here. The circles here are a little bit smaller. Well, you got the word bay here, and then we have bay here, but this looks like we're doing something. So we could do a definition even here, just kind of small next to it. What do we part of an ocean or lake enclosed by land. So we're just going to write water enclosed by land. That's it. And we're just going to leave that just by itself. And we're not going to do anything else, but if you want to, you can draw a line. You don't really have to. It's personal choice. Then we have harbor, a sheltered area of water deep enough for docking ships. So we think a bay is water enclosed by land. You can see a picture. There's the water, and then the land is on three sides of it. So it's like three sides. Whereas the bay, we see land, whatever they're standing on, and then of course we see a lot of water. So we go, and here there's even a review, the difference between a bay and a harbor. So we go and we look at this, and we'll just kind of start with the important stuff, that they both involve water. I can't really make that any better. But we also say that a harbor is deep enough for ships. I should probably do this up on this one. They both have water. The harbor is deep for ships. And this could also be, might be partially man-made if it's dredged, but we actually won't go into that. And then the bay is just, could be shallow. It's very possible that it's shallow. So that's kind of completing a Venn diagram. And then harbor, we've already got that, so we can just draw a line. Come on. We can just draw a line. If we have trouble with it later, we can look. We could also write it down here. There are notes. We do what's good for us. So we go back down here. Delta, triangular area of land formed from deposits at the mouth of a river, shouldn't be the river. And this is the delta here. A lot of people call this whole area the delta, but the delta is just this little triangular spot here. And then this is a butte, not to be confused with, if I were to cover that up, something that you might sit on, but a raised flat area of land with steep cliffs, smaller than a maze. We might sit on a butte as well. So a delta, we said it's a triangular thing, so we might even take this over here. We might even make a triangle just remind us that it's a deposit. And a Beaut, we could maybe come over here. We could draw a little picture. It's flat at the top. Then we can write. Now it's hard to do this with a computer. Triangular deposit. This is a flat raised surface. And the lines here, I mean, you can do it differently on your paper. Some of these you might know automatically. You might know desert. If you already know what a desert is, it's a big dry area, you can just put like a check mark. Then if you want, but we have it up here, so we know there's going to be some activity, so you can just say, you make a little annotation here, dry, no rain. Let's go back to the notes. Desert, not a dessert, that would have 2 S's. Dry area with few plants, and a prairie, large level area of grassland with few or no trees. So we can see an automatic difference. A prairie has grass, and a desert doesn't have anything, and a prairie's flat, and a desert, as we can see, can be quite mountainous. No, not necessarily. It's not part of the definition. Let's go back up to our... So, what they have in common, they don't have trees. Prairie has grass, and a desert has no plants. So by filling out the organizer, you help remember what you're talking about. And then if you need to, a highlighter actually works pretty good for these things. And you can make some kind of connection there if you have all these colors that works for you. Glaciers, pretty cool. Big sheet of ice. It's moving along. There's a glacial front. Probably could be moving that way. Don't know. And a mountain, big jagged thing. These are basic things. You just kind of learn them. And then so we go back to our notes. We need to do glacier and mountain. And we don't have any. We don't really have any space just to write things randomly. So we're going to make our own. We're just going to type it up. Make this a bit smaller. I'm just going to put this over here. Glacier. Sorry. Glacier. Sheet of ice. Let's get rid of this here. Looks like I can't get rid of it. And then the other one was mountain. Large, rocky outcroppings. Big hills. If that works for you. You don't have to put the exact word from the wording of the slides because you need to do what's going to help you remember. Natural elevation, you know, this might not mean, this doesn't mean much to me. And then the cliff, steep, almost vertical edge of a hill, mountain or plain, and a canyon, a narrow, deep valley with steep sides. And what I see here, I see a kind of a similarity. I see steep sides here, steep sides, all these look like these have steps. And this is kind of flat. But go to our notes. And this one, a picture might be might be in order here for cliff and canyon. And maybe I'll draw it. It's light blue. So cliff. I just draw an arrow. A cliff, I can imagine something falling down. And a canyon, you know, and there's this area, and that's the canyon. Make that so it points to canyon. And you know, that's one way to remember. If you have some room, then there's always just writing it over here. Canyon. It's like a valley, which it is. And then cliff, it's like a wall. which it is. Then notice I've included these frames here. So things that are flat. Well, from our notes that we took, a butte is flat, and a prairie was flat, and a glacier was kind of flat on the top, question mark. A cliff had flat sides, question mark, but a canyon, it's not necessarily flat at the bottom. Things that have water, bay, harbor, the deltas where water runs out. Glacier, ice is made of water. Things that are very dry, desert. Nothing else kind of jumps out as being particularly dry. Things that are dangerous, maybe it's something to help you remember. A mountain can be dangerous. A desert can be dangerous if you stay there too long. A harbor if you fall in, I guess. Kind of a personal choice. Then at the bottom of the notes it says, it's important to know about different landforms because this is a summary box, and I usually give you a first little bit to kind of follow on. And I'm going to say it's important to know about landforms because by being able to describe the natural world around us, we can better make sense of it and its relation to history. Just my personal answer, you can have your own. And that's essentially, and then there's a journal question, but that's essentially how you take notes. Now, you don't have to do it with these colors and lines, but this area over here is where you take most of your information. You can use this if you run out of room. But then when you're studying, what you do is you cover the right side. I guess I can't really show that. And you cover up the right, and you just look at the terms, and with your hand on the right, which I can't show you on the computer, you go over these keywords and you ask yourself, do I know this, do I know this, do I know this? And if you don't know it, then you can look over. If you do know it, however, you're good to go. Alright, and that is how we take Cornell Notes. Thank you, and goodbye.